During the colonial era, the history of North Africa was intentionally misrepresented, with the French occupation playing a significant role in this process. Colonial narratives promoted an ideological framework that emphasized a Eurocentric perspective while marginalizing the historical presence and contributions of black populations in the region. This misrepresentation was not incidental, but rather a deliberate effort to minimize the significance of black Africans and reshape the perception of their historical legacy. Despite these distortions, ancient historical and geographical sources indicate that the original Berbers were black-skinned. The term white Berbers has been used by historians specifically in reference to certain descendants of the Masmuda tribe, whose lighter skin was attributed to the fact that their mothers were raped by white slaves of Italian and Frankish descent, brought to the region by the Almoravids. Ibn Khulkan wrote in his book, Wafiyat al-A'yan wa Anba' Abna' al-Zaman, the Masmuda who came to him, he saw some of their children with blonde hair and blue eyes, while the parents had brown and black skin. He asked them about the reason for this, but they did not answer. He insisted that they answer, and they said, "We are subjects of the king and owe him taxes. Every year his white slaves come to us and stay in our homes, taking our women. The children born of this are like this, and we have no power to stop it." Muhammad said, "By God, death is better than this life. How did you accept this, when you are the fiercest of people with swords, and you strike with lances and spears?" They replied, "Although we did not accept, we were forced." From the 7th to the 20th centuries, millions of white Europeans were enslaved in North Africa and the Middle East. However, ongoing efforts seek to erase this aspect of history despite extensive evidence supporting it. Rather than acknowledging the full scope of slavery in the region, these efforts attempt to restrict the narrative to the enslavement of black populations, thereby distorting historical reality. Muslim historians and geographers over the centuries have documented the black identity of the Berbers, contributing to a more accurate and objective understanding of North African history. Among the most important sources that address this truth, we find what Al-Jahiz wrote in his book Fakhr al-Sudan al-Baydan, published in the 9th century. The black people are more numerous than the white people, because the majority of the white people are considered Persians, Caucasians, Khorasanians, Romans, Slavs, Franks, and the Parni, with a few others beyond that. As for the black people, they include the Zanj, the Abyssinians, Fezzan, the Berbers, the Copts, the Nubians, the Zahawa, Maru, Sin, Indians, and the Comoros. The Book of the Boundaries of the World, published in the 10th century in Persian, also gives a detailed description of North Africa population, stating, "The statement about the Maghreb and its cities. It is a land with many plains, rugged mountains, and its people are black and brown." In Masalik al-Mamalik by Al-Bakri, 11th century, considered one of the most important historical sources on North Africa, there is a description of the Safdad River, now known as the Lukos River in Morocco, as being exclusively inhabited by black populations. Al-Bakri wrote, "No one with white skin lives in the valley of Safdad without falling ill, and few recover from their illness. It is only inhabited by black people. When they see a white person enter among them, they call out to each other, 'Miz. Abu Sa'd al-Samani, in his book of Al-Ansab, mentioned that the Masmuda, who are considered the largest Berber tribe in North Africa, now primarily living in regions like the high and anti-Atlas mountains, as well as Souss and the Dra Basin, had black skin. He said, "The Masmuda, who are men from the farthest part of the Maghreb, have many lands called the lands of the Masamida. They are a people who are black, tall, and known for their memorization of the Book of Allah." In a similar context, Persian traveller Nasir Khasrok Badiani wrote in his Safranama, 11th century, "There is a group called the Masmuda, who are black from the lands of Masamida. It is said that their number is about 20,000 men." In the Al-Mu'jab fi Talkhis Akhbar al-Maghrib by historian Abdul Wahid al-Murakshi, 12th-13th century, another confirmation of the Masmuda's black identity is found. He mentioned a black man from the city of Agmat named Abu Muhammad Wasna, saying, "These are the people known as the Il-Jama'ah, and Abu Muhammad Wasna is one of them. He was a black tanner from Agmat who accompanied Abu Abdullah ibn Tumot when he passed through." This is a portrait of Sultan Abu Abbas Ahmed, of Moroccan Masmuda origin, the last of the Hafsid sultans who ruled Tunisia until 1573. The painting was created by the Flemish artist Peter Paul Rubens. 12th century geographer and historian Al-Idrisi described the people of Souss as brown-skinned, stating in his book Nuzhat al-Mushtaq في اختراق الآفاق. From the land of Dra to the farthest region of Sus it is 4 days' journey. Its city is Tarudant, and the land of Sus has many villages, with its buildings connected to one another. Its men and women have brown skin. In the same book, Al-Idrisi wrote that the Berbers of the island of Jerba are also predominantly brown-skinned, saying, "From the edge of the cliff to the island of Jerba in the sea, it is 4 miles. It is an island populated by tribes of Berbers, and brown skin predominates among its people." In Lisan al-Arab, the dictionary defines asmar as a color between white and black. Imam and historian Shams al-Din al-Dahabi, in his book Sir A'lam al-Nubala, explained, "The term hamra in the speech of the people of Hejaz refers to a blonde person, which is rare among them. There is a narration in which it says, 'a red man,' as if he were from the white slaves, meaning he resembles the color of the white slaves who were captured from the Christians of the Levant, the Romans, and the Persians. Furthermore, when the Arabs say someone is white, they mean a yellowish complexion with a darker undertone. If the color is like that of the people of India, they say he is asmar, brown, or Adam, dark brown. If it resembles the blackness of the Takrur people, the Takrurs are the inhabitants of West Africa, they say he is black, or Shadid al-Adama. This is also the meaning behind the saying of the Prophet, 'I was sent to the red and the black.' Yaqut al-Hamawi, in his Mojam al-Buldan, a 13th century, mentioned that the people of Fezzan were black, saying, "Fezzan is a large province located between Fayoum and Tripoli in the west, situated in the first zone. It is said to be named after Ferran, the son of Ham, son of Noah, peace be upon him. The region has many date palms and an abundance of dates. Its city is Zuwaila Asudan, and the predominant color of its inhabitants is black." In Shara al-Raqiq wa Taqlib al-Abid by Baghdad physician Ibn Batlan, published in the 11th century, he wrote that the Berbers are mostly black-skinned, stating, "The Berber women from the island of Berbera, located between the west and the south, are mostly black in color, though some are yellow-skinned. If you find a woman with a maternal lineage from the Katama tribe and a paternal lineage from the Sanhaja tribe, with origins from the Masmuda, you will find her naturally inclined to obedience and compliance in all matters." The Sanhaja and Masmuda confederations are the 2 largest Berber tribal groups. Moreover, Ibn Azayat al-Tadali, who lived in the 12th and 13th centuries, mentioned in his book At-Tashawuf ila Rijal al-Tasawwuf the names of more than 30 black Moroccan scholars and righteous saints, hailing from various regions and cities such as Marrakesh, Agmat, Urika, Quta, Dukala, Tadla, Chiadma, Sus, Saleh, Meknes, Sijilmasa, Dades, Demenate, and Azmur, among others. Some of them include Al-Fakki Luqman al-Sawi. He was originally from Haskora and was black. A highly respected scholar among the elders, it was said that he led the prayers in the mosque of Agmat for about 40 or 50 years. The black Abu Muhammad Abd al-Wahid ibn Tumart al-Haskuri. I saw this man when he stayed in our area on the eastern side of the city of Marrakesh. Anyone who saw him sensed that he was a good man and a righteous person. He never stopped remembering God, and whenever I saw him I was filled with awe and could only speak to him once, asking for his prayers, and he prayed for me. When the Muslims set out to conquer Andalusia to fight the Christians, he joined them and was martyred. May Allah have mercy on him, in the Battle of Al-Arak, which took place in the year 591 AH. Raihan the Black. He was in the port city of Quta. Whenever someone faced hardship, they would go to him, and Allah would relieve them. He was known for his miracles, which appeared as clear as the break of dawn. The black Abu Waqil Maimun ibn Tikirt al-Wariki, a disciple of Mahrez al-Safaksi, who studied under him and became proficient in the Maliki school of jurisprudence. The black Abu Muhammad Abd al-Halim ibn Ismail al-Ilani. He was from the village of Tauti, near Marrakesh. He passed away in the year 593 AH. I visited him several times at his house, and he was known for his eloquent sermons and his ability to move people to tears. He was generous with his wealth, and many seekers would visit him for guidance, benefiting greatly from his presence. The black Abu Umar Musa ibn Abdullah. He was from the eastern side of Marrakech and was one of the followers of Abu Ibrahim al-Safaj and Abu Abdullah ibn Tamim. He was a man known for his goodness, generosity, and selflessness. The black Abu Yalbakht Balatin, a student of Sheikh Abu Yaza, he lived in the mountains of Demnat in the Haskora region, where he passed away in 602 AH. He was one of the great saints and scholars. The black Abu Yahya Abu Bakr ibn Malul al-Sanhaji. He was from the village of Tanzgot in the Dadiz region and passed away in 606 AH. He was a righteous servant. I was told by a reliable source that a prince once set out to visit him, but upon hearing of the prince's approach, Abu Yahya prayed, "O Allah, place a barrier between me and him." The prince turned back without meeting him and said, "I was in a state where I could not meet this righteous man." The black Abu Umar Musa ibn Yamasal al-Zumarani al-Na'al. He was from Aghmat and Aurika, and he passed away in the year 610 AH. He was known for his piety, asceticism, fasting, and standing in prayer. Although the Berbers, referred to in anthropological studies as Neo-Berbers, are not directly linked to the ancient populations of North Africa, such as the Moors, Garamantes, Getulians, Numidians, and Afri, historical records, as well as genetic and anthropological research, suggest that they migrated from the Middle East and began spreading in the region between the 4th and 6th centuries AD. Historians consistently affirm that these populations had black skin. Ultimately, despite ongoing attempts by certain groups to distort the history of North Africa, the historical reality of the Berbers' black skin and the enslavement of millions of white people in the region for centuries remains well documented.